I'm Jenna Sakwa here with The Cutaway, your look beyond CBS This Morning. I'm here with our senior correspondent, John Miller. John, you just had a great piece on. Tell me about how you found out about this story.
We were actually working on another story with some people who were investigators, and they had mentioned, we had this other case and it involved this, and I asked another question and another question, and you really get drawn into this story. It's a fascinating account.
And how did you find out about the actual whistleblower and get kind of hooked up with him?
Well, the whistleblower had a civil suit and had not spoken to the media, had not gone out in public.
I want to know how you got him to speak.
And, he had even testified before Congress, but only in written testimony, and spoke to his lawyer, talked to him about talking more than once. He was very reluctant, but at some point he just decided it was time to tell the story.
And now there's a federal investigation going on.
There's a federal grand jury sitting in Plano, Texas right now. They're hearing witnesses in secret. They've subpoenaed thousands of documents. Investigators were out literally this week at companies where Infosys employees worked, taking time records and other things. It's a very active case.
And do we know anything about what the possible outcome could be of the investigation?
A couple of things could happen. One thing that could happen is nothing. They could say, we reviewed this and we find these allegations unfounded. Another thing that could happen is they could get indicted criminally. And they have been notified, the Infosys company has been notified they're a target of the federal investigation, as are some of their employees, managers.
And what about this story that you just did? Any ideas of how that could impact the case and the story at large?
I don't think it will impact the case. The federal investigation will go on its own. I think what it will impact is things like what's going on in Congress. Both Senator Grassley and Senator Durbin have introduced legislation to really try to force the immigration and customs enforcement people and the State Department to better coordinate on who's getting these visas, when they get here, where are they, what are they doing, how long are they here, because they say it's rife with loopholes. I mean,
do you think that this is more the fault of the company or of the immigration laws, how the way of getting a visa actually works?
Well, that's a great question, because one of the things we asked to Jay Palmer and to Marty Harrington, the company insiders, which is, this is a complex process. It's bureaucratic, involves a lot of forms. Could it happen by accident? Could this be a series of mistakes? And they said no. To get this kind of visa, which is to come for a meeting, you have to get an invitation letter that says what the meeting's about and how long you're going to be here. So basically they're saying you had to essentially forge documents to get the visa, and then people were here for weeks and then months working, coming back and forth.
And have we heard from any of the people that were on the visas actually working, or do we know if they're involved in the investigation?
I think they're going to end up talking to those people in the course of the case. What was your understanding of what you were doing here, and what did you say to get this visa, and so on. But the interesting thing, which we didn't have a chance to touch on in the story, was this isn't that Jay Palmer or Marty Harrington didn't like or resented the workers coming from India. They felt bad for them. These people were getting very little money. They were living stacked in motel rooms, sleeping on air mattresses in apartments or on the floor. And they said a lot of them didn't really have a choice. The company said, you're being deployed overseas. I'm sure you want to keep your job, and this is what you need to do.
Well, thank you so much for that story. Coming up next on the broadcast, you can see in the green room, Ziggy Marley and Ricky Gervais are here. Actually, Ricky Gervais is on set. So let's take a pan out of the set, and we'll see him next on the broadcast.